6:25.
Moving swiftly on. Now, if you dream of having like a big day for a beautiful big white wedding, we're having a bit of a soggy start this year, aren't we? It's not been brilliant for weddings so far as we go into full pelt wedding season.
Yeah, wet weddings rather than white weddings, hasn't it been? But Nina's at a wedding venue in Bolton this morning to find out how the weather has been affecting things, and she's joined by the happy couple. Good morning.
Ezra and Vincent getting hitched today, yeah. Good morning from the Wellbeing Farm. Should we go, chaps? Come on, off we pop. And you, Sandra. Good morning from the Wellbeing Farm. And you, Mabel, come on. We're just outside of Bolton in Lancashire. I mean, this venue is stunning. Ezra and Vinny got their bow ties on. Whatever the weather, this way, Vincent. These guys will come out for your photos. They might look a little bit more bedraggled if the weather's not quite right. Pete, come on. I might need your help. But if you are getting hitched this year, it will have not gone unnoticed that we've had the 6th wettest April on record. You'll have been watching Carol's reports with interest, hoping that on your big day, thank you, Pete. Come on, Vinny, you're being stubborn, aren't you? Ezra's much better. That the weather will pick up because it can have a huge impact on your photos, on your guests, whether they can get there. Look at this view, though. You can imagine even in a thunderstorm, it's gorgeous here. And we will be talking later on about what you can do, shall I switch around, to mitigate against the bad weather, whether it's worth getting insurance, because over lockdown, almost half of couples, they're enjoying the view, made sure that they took out insurance. That's dropped now to around a third of couples. Is it worth taking it out? What can you do to make sure your big day goes ahead well, and whether you're well covered, Ezra, if things start to go wrong? We're going to take in the view, maybe get some breakfast, learn how to do a bit of axe throwing as you do. But why don't you have a listen to the news, the travel and the weather where you are this morning.
And as the weather supposedly gets a bit better, it's that time of year when wedding bells are ringing across the country, but it's been a bit of a soggy start, hasn't it?
It has. And Nina is at a wedding venue in Bolton to see how a classic British summer of rain and drizzle can affect the big day, but it looks gorgeous there.
Wow.
Good morning, John and Sally. Do you know what? Being here at the Wellbeing Farm, we're just outside of Bolton in Lancashire, it's got me feeling all romantic. Remembering the big day, your guests arriving, walking down the aisle and praying that when you head outside for those photos that the sun is shining, or at least that it's not raining. We got very lucky in October. Not everybody's been having that luck this spring because, as you'll probably know if you're planning the big day, it's been the 6th wettest April on record. We think there's about 130,000 couples getting married, and there's a bigger trend now to go for more casual locations like this. This is a barn that's been converted, and what they've done here is put plans in place that they say are fine whatever the weather. Come and meet Celia, who set this up more than 10 years ago, and her army of pals who I think you're going to love. So we've got Ezra, Bowie because of his different coloured eyes, and this is Winston and Vincent, there we go. These guys are absolutely beautiful, Celia, and whatever the weather, they enhance your wedding experience, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they don't mind the weather, regardless of what it's like. They'll come out snowing, raining, whatever, wind, anything like that.
Lots of couples panic if they wake up on the day and it's cloudy, the rain starts, you can get some really extreme weather up here. What would you say to people planning the big day?
Yeah, it's about, I suppose, choosing a venue that is protected for the weather, that has got those weather contingencies in place. We have a second barn, so, for example, if it is raining, you can go in there and enjoy your welcome drinks, enjoy your canopies and everything else, while sometimes the room has to be turned around from your ceremony to your reception. And we've got lots of umbrellas, and let's face it, 90% of the time of a wedding, the couples are indoors anyway because they're enjoying, you know, the meal and enjoying the drinks and the
come round this way.
And then and it's also very lucky.
Yeah.
If it rains on your wedding day, it's supposed to be a sign of a strong and healthy marriage.
There we
So,
go.
yeah,
There
it's
we
positive if
go.
it
Yeah,
rains.
and you were saying earlier, there's pros and cons on both sides. If you've booked a band in here and it's glorious outside, that's a waste of money. Whereas if it's pelting it down, there's always a fantastic atmosphere in the barn.
Yeah, always a better atmosphere in a place if it's raining because everybody stays inside. If it's great weather, you've got the pros and cons. If it's great weather, everyone's outside, they're mingling, they're in all different areas.
Look at this view, it's
but
gorgeous.
if if it is raining, at least you've got them in there, and you tend to keep the atmosphere in there.
Thank you very much, Celia. And P, it's your job to handle these guys. Do they always behave on the big day?
No.
No. What
Busy,
happens if
yeah.
people get a little bit carried away and come petting them when they've been on the dance floor and had a few beers?
No, they're out. They've
Are
gone
they?
then. They've gone then. They're fine.
We
They're
do-
safe in the middle, open fields.
Are they? Are you
Yeah.
doing a great job looking after them? They've been really well behaved for us this morning. They do, I'm sure. Thank you very much. And on top of things like, woo! Nearly bumped into Ezra there. And on top of wedding venues taking a hit with the bad weather this year, it's not just them, it's all hospitality venues. Let's have a chat with Rob. Morning to you, good to see you. What kind of impact has it had this spring on venues that are already struggling?
Yeah, I mean, the weather's been fairly brutal and it's reflected the trading conditions for the retail and leisure sector for the past 3 years, really. You know, we've had the COVID, we've had energy crisis, we've had interest rates going through the roof and consumer spending depressed. So when Mother Nature doesn't play ball, it really has a bad impact. And these are businesses, working on wafer-thin margins at the best of times. And we had, national living wage just gone up in April. So these kind of businesses really need everything, working in their favour. And we haven't seen that this year. But the weather is picking up a little bit by the looks of the forecast, fingers crossed.
And we know that research shows at the moment people who are booking their weddings, around half of them are looking to make savings because the cost of living is where it's at. Inflation is coming down. We hope to confirm that we're coming out of a recession very soon. Are there green shoots? Is there hope that things are about to get easier?
Yeah, I think the economic headwinds have been challenging for a lot of businesses, particularly in these kind of sectors. I think if we look at the economic data, it's picking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe green shoots, I won't want to be too optimistic, but what we do need is the sun to come out and have a really cracking the flags summer. And that's what, when I speak to retail businesses, hospitality businesses, they're desperate for a really good, summer's trading.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Now, there are things you can do to put in place. There's insurance policies you can take out. And what's really interesting is during COVID, around half of couples decided to take out that insurance just in case something went wrong. That's dropped now to roughly a third of couples. So maybe it's something to look at in case the weather's really bad and it means half your guests or so can't arrive, then you do get protected. And this is Andy. It might feel untraditional for a wedding, but Andy does axe throwing at weddings. We tried it early, but we're going to stay safe this time round. Are we seeing more of a trend for people doing the unusual at weddings?
Definitely. I think for this year we've doubled the bookings of last year. We can operate irrespective of what the weather is, and the company ethos for us is to find a better balance between screen time and green time. So even if the weather is a bit bad, let's get out there, do something fun and get active and do something very unique.
It's a great ethos, and we've had a wonderful morning here seeing how you can do weddings a little bit different and not to get too upset if things are outside of your control, because if the heavens are going to open, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. My top tip is getting married in October, John and Sally. I got married in October, 2 of my best pals did. I've never been to an October wedding in the UK where the weather's been bad, but as we've been hearing this morning, there's loads you can get in place in case things go wrong. And if you are one of the 130,000 or so couples getting married this year, good luck with it all. All the best.
Or the alternative is to get married in October abroad, Nina, perhaps?
Well, I don't know about abroad weddings, because if your friends and family don't have the budget to go, then it does rule some people out, doesn't it?
Good point.
People watching right now thinking,
Unless-
that's a good idea.
I know, exactly, unless you want to run away.
You don't get the llamas abroad like you get in the UK, though.
You might.
Better standard of llama.
South
here.
America?